I mean, they've just been amazing, amazing individuals. So I can't say there's any one person, George, that I've met so many different people from different walks of life, different backgrounds. We all share the love of bodybuilding. So, I just admire them all. It's not an easy thing to do. Um, so I can't say there's any one person. I'm sorry.
I know, I know. I mean, there's amazing women and people and men in sport over the years that really have really, I think, elevated sport to a certain level. Like one person that sticks out most is Arnold. Even though I don't like his politics when it comes to bodybuilding, how he kicked out women's bodybuilding physique and figure from his show, but he was a guy that really opened up people interest in it because remember the movie Pumping Iron that played to his career and in life. But there's some many amazing. But it's just particularly everybody has their favorites. But I understand. We have a comment from my man K. He's a hater. He says, "Yeah, you have to look at more philosophy than just quoting Batman Begins." Well, I got another one. How about Rocky Balboa? Like no matter how hard you can hit, how you take the hits, you got to
That's
keep moving forward. He's a hater. Also, we got here from my man KL again. He's always says, "You're not her bodyguard. Let her husband handle it." Nah, brother. We all my guests. I handle it because this is my guest. I do that. Her husband can do that, but when she's here, she's with me. So I handle it, brother. You got a problem? So also we got here from a man, Damon J. Says the crab pose is her own unique style. That's what makes her unique from all the rest of the competitors. Oh, that's appreciated, brother. Thank you. And also he said, my man KL says, nice back. So you earned your pro card. We earned the pro card, and you were in women's physique, right?
I was in women's physique. I earned it at the first Ben Weider Naturals. And they
Mhm.
held that because the Weeders were from Montreal. They held it in Montreal, Canada.
Mhm. Yeah, because pretty much we owe a Canadian to starting bodybuilding because Ben and his brother Joe started. And Ben, they were part of that. They really were bodybuilding. It was for them. I think we wouldn't have what we have now. We owe them a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of like another Canadian started another sport that is what's his name? The guy who started basketball. He was Canadian. I forgot his name. It's back in my head. But yeah, he was Canadian. He started basketball. It's one of the biggest sports in the
Is that
world.
true?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did not
yeah,
know
yeah,
that.
yeah. It's I forgot his name. It's a doctor. He's a doctor too, but he's a doctor of I think of athletics or something like that. His name in the back of my head, but I if I remember it, I'll send the link to it. Not sure, but he was Canadian and he started basketball. Funny thing, Canadians, we owe you a lot. Even though right now some people don't. I'm not gonna get
Uh,
to political stuff too much.
no, I'm
It's,
not a political person.
yeah, yeah, I can't help it. I'm American. We can't help it.
Yeah, I'm not, though. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Don't apologize for that. But what made you decide to switch from physique to women's bodybuilding?
So that's an interesting story. I used to pose with Kenny Wallach, and Kenny and I were doing a posing session one day, and all of a sudden he said, "I gotta go," and he hung up phone. And I was like, "Oh my, what did I do now?" Anyway, I kind of sat there in my posing suit, and he called during that time. He called my coach, Chris, and he said, "Chris, she should be in bodybuilding, not women's physique." And Chris said, "Okay." And so then Kenny called me back, and he said, "You're going to compete in women's bodybuilding. What do you think?" And the competition was 2 to 3 weeks away. It was the Chicago Pro. And I said, "Well, I don't know how to do any of the poses." And he said, "That's okay. I can teach them to you." And in those 2 weeks, I learned how to do the bodybuilding poses, if you will. And I went to the Chicago Pro. So, and I won two of the divisions I competed in. So I was sold after that. I made the switch.
Mhm. I think we do need more women like yourself to move up because women's bodybuilding at one point was almost extinct. There were so few shows, so few opportunities for competitions. One thing that changed was right about after the year when they dropped women's bodybuilding for both the Olympia and the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic. a gentleman who I'm a fan of, and I got to say this in town. I said, yo, Jake, I want that money. I want that gun. Mr. Jake Wood, he came up and he came up, he saved it. I actually saw him in Savannah when I went to my first show. Didn't get to talk to him. If I get to ever talk to him face to face, I'm going to do that in front of him. That's from the episode from that scene from Training Day when Denzel was hollering at Ethan Hawke said, Jake, I will say it. I'm going to say it because I know I'm crazy. We have your comment from, shout out to my man, Lawrence Perkins. Appreciate you, brother, sticking in. It says, when you let the ladies in the bodybuilding industry on the comment below, their posts from education from the ladies behind their workout of life, let them know I enjoy learning from you. I appreciate that, brother. Also, this is from my man Damon J. He says, I'm waiting on Eva Melillo to do a show this year. She didn't place well last at Olympia. Well, she's still young and her body's still developing. So it'll take time, and it's like anything. This is a tough sport. And the sacrifice you have to do, the time you have to put into it. I know there's times where you wish you could spend more time with your significant other, your kids. You feel like is it worth it in your mind?
Yes, I don't think I would do it any other way, George. It's how, if I'm happy or if you're happy as a person in general, then everybody benefits around you, right? The thing, though, I will say that the life that I've chosen has come at a cost. I work a lot. I'm not home a lot. And I've missed some things. So sometimes I wonder if the cost was too high. But on the whole, I'm happy, and I've always had to beat to the to go to the beat of my own drum. And at the end of the day, my daughter is very successful herself, and she's a wonderful person. So I hope that I've done a good job.
Well, like any parent, you want your children to succeed, to be happy, to enjoy their lives. Sometimes they got to learn things. And as a parent, I never had kids of my own. I helped with my nieces and nephews when they're coming up, and that's not the same, but still, you see them prosper and grow, and you're proud of them. Especially, you want them to succeed. And then, like I said again, yeah, it is tough because you're with your career, working in neurology, and you also have another gig you do. It does take a lot of time of your life. I mean, but anything you want, sometimes it has to be worth the sacrifice. I have ladies told me that they lost friends, and when family members don't understand what they're into it, like other than your husband and your kids, and who else in your family really supports you?
That's a hard one. There's, my parents are there. They will watch the streams. When I started, they were not so supportive. They're a little better now. But I think my family supports me in the way that they can, not understanding why I do what I do. And certainly I limit contact with them when I'm in prep because it's not helpful. So you want to be around people that are supportive and positive. And the other flip side of that is I don't have a lot of time. So, I don't have to worry about it too much. I have a couple of friends that are in the sport or were in the sport and retired, and they're supportive. But, most of my colleagues and whatnot don't really understand it either. So it's not golf, and it's not, fine wine or fine dining. So, it is different.
Yeah, because like I said, it's something that's out of the norm of society, especially as a woman. Because one thing, if men have muscle, it's a little more acceptable. But when it comes to women, because it can be a little extreme for somebody who doesn't really know the sport. Like, what example, like your father is saying, like, I don't want my little girl to be my little boy because it feel like you get these muscles to become manly. Or I often have ladies tell me that they talk to their mother, say, sweetie, I don't want to talk about this. I don't feel comfortable about it because they come from a different generation. But as long as they're there for you and support you, that's good. Everybody else, I wouldn't worry about too much. I wouldn't waste my energy with anybody who don't care. Because if they're really a friend, even sometimes if they don't understand, it's good to support them. Shout out to man Lawrence, he coming through again, also dropping advices. Dr. Kyna, every day you always your best in your own world, in the people in your circle. And same to you, George, and everyone on the chat. Appreciate that, brother. Also, he says this. Also, he says, bodybuilding is a blessing. Thank you, brother. Also, we got here is Caleb Hall. He says, I love female bodybuilders and muscular women. Yeah, that's a lot of these guys here. I got a lot of guys here like this. Kyna, when I get a new girl out here, they act like when Charlie Murphy met Prince at the club one day. He was hanging with this guy Nikki Free, with Shalimar, and they thought Nikki Free was a chick, but he actually do. And he said like Shalimar got a new girl. She found the motherfucker. When I said George got a new girl, she found the motherfucker. They talk about you. So but yeah, I think everybody found their passion in sport. The time to train and sacrifice. Being one thing is that for y'all women, is a lot more compared to the men. I keep saying this. I'm gonna put this always. I'll say this with the men. All you gotta do is wear a pair of banana hammocks and board shorts. They get more opportunities, especially money wise. Yes, it's an expense to compete as a man, but I think it's a big expense to compete as a woman, especially for show day. Like you're getting ready, you have to get your hair done, your makeup done. I heard that Corey's pretty good with that stuff. Like at there, like also has doctors there to make sure to attend to y'all. I mean, a friend of mine was talking to him a while back who was hoping maybe you could hook up with him, but this is so much expense to be a bodybuilder. And his thing is like I think was it that Chelsea said the prize money was $1,500 for her.
Yeah, it probably wasn't very much. That's for sure. It was 700 for the third place. That's all I could tell you.
700. That's
But we definitely don't do it for the money. That's for sure. And you're right, George. It's like I'm self-employed, so when I don't work to travel to these shows and whatnot, it's not just the expense of going to the show; it's the expense of I'm not making any money. If I work, I make money. If I don't work, I don't make money. So, your expenses still come, and so it is a bit of a sacrifice that way. But you do it because you love it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they tell me that do because they love it. They understand that the cost of travel because they got thinking you have come all the way from New Flint all the way to Nova Scotia. That's the other side of another part of the country. The training costs, you're paying your coaches, you know, the
Absolutely.
travel, your suits right there alone. That's right there. Rent, maybe a car note, mortgage. I think there should be more benefits for you when you become an IB Pro. I mean, you still have to pay that pro status fee every year. So what are you getting out of it? I mean, if anything, here's it like this. As a person who watches this sport, who follows this sport, when I go to the shows, I'm coming to see people like you on the stage. I'm not coming to see the judges. I'm not coming to see the promoters. I'm not coming to see these people. I'm coming to see y'all. And I think anything with any sport, just like you look at it, like the major sports like football, baseball, basketball, soccer, they, invest in athletes, but pretty much y'all put much into it, but not getting much back like you should. Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be that way. Here we got my man. Shout out to my man Caleb. He says, "Can you keep those muscles pumping?" Yeah, I tell you again. And also, this is from my man Lawrence Perkins. I believe you're doing a great job as a mother every day, from the good times and bad. You'll always be the best. Appreciate that, brother. Also, man, Davis Adams shot to me. He says you funny, George. Yeah. So so like that. What's your regular daily training like? What's the day in the life of Dr. Squarey?
It usually starts between 3 and 4 in the morning. That's when I get up and I do my cardio. I usually get ready for work around 7. I try to be at work early in the morning because I want to work my 8 hour, at least my 8 hour day or whatever, and then get to the gym. So, that's pretty much what I do. I work until mid afternoon, and then I go to the gym and I train. And then it's home to meal prep, and I get ready for the next day. And I do the same thing again. So
So like wash, repeat, wash, repeat.
watch, repeat, yeah, and
Yeah,
try and
yeah.
make every day as perfect as I can make it.
Well, you gotta make the best of it sometimes.
Yeah.
And like when you're in the gym, what's that workout? You're like, oh my God, I love this. It feels me, you feel good. No one says, damn, why I gotta do this shit?
No, I mean, sure, everybody has those days, right? But for me, the gym is my happy place. Like I said, it's where I am me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a partner. I'm not a daughter. I'm not a mother. I'm just me, and I'm at peace with the world. And I just go lift shit, you know,
You said shit.
and push as hard as I can. I love that. Like I love pushing my body as hard as it can to that limit. Like I just love it. I love going right to that line and wondering. Hopefully you don't go to. Everybody's gone over it. Sure, I've gone over it, but I love pushing it to that line and doing something that not everybody can do.
Yeah, it's tough because you know what? That most people wouldn't be able to do this. What y'all do, to go in there and be consistent, be persistent, be determined, be dedicated, and be disciplined. Because most people be like easy. Okay, I just want something quick. Like a lot of young people want something quick, fast, in a hurry. But
Yeah,
that's the part of the process.
the sport's not like that.
Yeah, it takes time to grow and to build. Like most people go like this. I just pop some steroids or some pads and I'll be like big like her. Yeah, yeah. No, if you don't follow the guidelines, work on your diet, work on your training. Rest. If you have some time sleeping, that's important. Everything's important in this process. It's always not just one thing, but everything that's a comfort to make you a good bodybuilder. You get from man Caleb Hall. Shout out to Caleb. He says female bodybuilders and muscular women rock. Yeah, he's just a fan. He just like the big pump muscular ladies. And that's the thing is that most people, like these guys here, I got a lot of guys here, and I can't answer all their questions, but they're fans of it. But like there's the flip side to it. There are people who are kind of it offends their senses when they see women like you. Like I know you have patients and clients, and people you see. What if you have any experiences that you feel like, what? This excuse my language, fuck them.
Sure. We've all had them. I've had, patients comment on, because I'm the same person in the gym that I am in the office. I wear the same clothes. I'm not a very fancy person. So, I've had people criticize, what I wear and how that I do what I do. But I've also had the flip side, George, where people are just, so supportive and I didn't expect it. So you take the good with the bad, and I'm still working on that, let things kind of roll off your back. I've never been really good with that. I tend to take things to the heart too much. That includes caring for people too, in every aspect, not just bodybuilding, but I'm working on it.
Like the cook say, take the good, take the bad. There you have the facts of life. Yeah, remember a TV show back in the day? Yeah, I'm old. Yeah, but yeah, that's the thing about life. Sometimes it's tough, but you know what? It's
Like,
those things that makes us better people. Those things. Life's never been easy. One thing is like I worked most of my life. I worked since I was a kid, and I held down a couple of jobs here and there, and did this, and did that. Then my mom got sick. Then you know what? At the time, I wasn't doing anything. She needed somebody because I do have brothers and sisters, but they live someplace else, and I don't think they will really, really see our mother like she was.
mhm.
And it's tough, but if you love something enough, you deal with it. That's why when I started doing this, because it was a lot of responsibilities doing my mom's stuff, and I needed something as an outlet. And I was, like I said, I've always been a fan of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And these experiences I gained a lot. Like it's quote my other guy, if you're good at something, never do it as a free. And I'm good at what I do. And this is a while back. I always want to pull this out to let people know why I enjoy doing this. There's times where I say, you know what, I can stop doing that. Actually, I don't get appreciated. The ladies be yeah. But then with a friend of mine, I don't know if you met her. Her name is Eunice. She was a company band rap. She was at the Olympia 2023. She got me this issue of muscle development with Andrea, and she saw Andrea there at the Olympia. And Andrea, who doesn't even never seen me, she took time out and tell me she thanks me for my support.
Oh,
This is something I cherish. I love it. It's like I want to hug it and love it and call it George. But
lovely.
with someone like that, and other ladies have interviews with send me like little things, my birthday or for Christmas. They tell me they appreciate, because remember why I said you appreciate what I'm doing, because y'all ladies need someone to tell your story. People like me or David, the Female Bodybuilding Channel. My man K also does. He's more a fan of the muscle women, not as much as the sport, but he's learning. But y'all ladies need someone to realize that you are not just your doctor, your mother, your wife, you're a friend, you're an athlete. You're still a woman, and this is a sport that you found a passion for.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Here we got here from a man, Caleb. You about to cry? Don't cry. Okay. There's no crying in bodybuilding. It says, Kyna, stay strong and tough. Thank you, brother. Also, from my man, Damon J says, you got a fan, Miss Kyna Squarey. Doctor, brother.
Oh, good.
Doctor.
No.
Correct that. When we address this woman, you don't say miss, you say doctor.
That's fine. I'm good with
Nah, my channel. Nah. See, man, I gotta say something. I'm a Southern gentleman, like my man Doc Holliday here. And and we Southern gentlemen, we respect a lady, and you are a lady, fine lady. But but yeah, it's a lot of work. Like, what would you want to see change for bodybuilding in your mind?
Goodness. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, George. What would I like to see change? I mean, I wish it was a bit more accepted. I wish there was more shows. I wish there was more support for what we do. I think we take a lot of chances more, so and we work really hard just as much as the men do. But I understand it's not as popular. And therefore, say the financial is not as much as it would be for male bodybuilder. I guess that's about. What do you think, George? What do you think would?
I would say it's again more recognition. I think more people need to educate themselves on bodybuilding, understand what's it about. I think one time we discussed how I think some ladies need to go out there. I know you're very private and very, about yourself, but you need to put yourself out there more. Like, go out and talk to the people that most people wouldn't know who someone like Andrea Shaw is, or even someone like Samson Dewar is, or anybody. There's a few people like, like that Sam Sulik, who just got his pro card at the Arnold Classic. You got C-Bum, he's very popular. He has the Tom Selleck mustache, porn stash, I call it. And I think it's just that I think we need more open-minded to it. They see it as a pageant, but it has a little aspect of pageantry, a little bit. Women's bodybuilding, so again, it's the Godfather division. If it wasn't for the others, you wouldn't have physique, you wouldn't have figure, you wouldn't have fitness. When so much, so the only divisions I would say is not really women's bodybuilding is bikini. Excuse me, no, I've interviewed some competing competitors in nice ways, but your division is very. And there's the new division, fit model. Excuse me. I understand it's about getting more attention, but hear from some people out here, they don't like it. One person told me it's a basic bitch division, excuse my French. But I think there should be more opportunities. And it also, the IFBB and NBC should push their athletes. And really, this is like look at the NBA and the NFL, what they do for their players and their competitors and their athletes. I think it needs to be done. I know it's about the money thing, but there's the money somewhere. It's people who like to watch it. Even though I talk about this, read your podcast on Monday, how bodybuilding has grown across the world. I mean, I have a lady who's a friend of mine, Judy McCarr. She's originally from Romania, but no, actually Hungary, but she lives in England. She lives in the States for a while. Natalia Coelho, her birthday was yesterday. Natalia from always from Brazil. Have women like Romana from Great Britain, women like Tiana Flex. I'm going to interview her coach tomorrow. That's Robert Phil. She's always from South Africa. Interview lady from Australia. It's just has to be more recognition and people education. It's not about the steroids because it's only a small factor. There's more to it that are people willing open to listen, but the problem is people are not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's 8 shows this year for us.
I think we just finished the Vancouver. Then there was Triple O. You have New York coming up in a couple of weeks. Then you have Toronto Imperial and also the Portugal Pro. Chicago. We got back to Tampa thanks to Jake and Alina. Yo, Jake! Atlanta, but there's the Tupelo, but that's for masters. They're not going to do open. Maybe next year get some sponsors. There's a show in California, which the Grand Prix, a friend of mine, she competed there last year. The Europa that wasn't UK, wasn't Spain, but now it's in Germany. Alina's show, and there's a Romanian Muscle Fest, and I think there's some natural shows. So I think about 12, but we all know Texas is going to have it, but they dropped it. And then it's just, and can't forget, I think the Rising Phoenix, that I think it's going to be an open this year because Jake feel like he needs to spread the money a little bit around. So I don't know if it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be invitation this year because usually they put out the invitation list by usually by March. So I think it's an open show now.
Really? I didn't know.
Yeah, just check it out. You can ask somebody, they can tell you. We got here from a man, shout out to a man, Lawrence sticking in here. He says, you are blessed, Dr. Kyna. And also, this is from a man, Damon J says, LOL. Andre Shaw, hardcore fan. You're very passionate. Yes, because I think she's a great lady. All you ladies are great ladies. And
she's a great lady.
Yeah, she's the one that really came around and really brought a certain level of muscle, femininity, and I watched the video she did where she's talking about certain things, and I just like to pay attention. She's just great. I mean, yes, I can't help it. She's beautiful. That's not her fault, but maybe it's me. But I get to learn stuff when I talk to you ladies.